Hey everybody, welcome back to Nerd News Today. I'm Matthew, and on today's episode, we're going retro for this one here. This is a first in the channel because I've really been, well, I don't want to say ignoring, but I haven't really been picking up a lot of these toys. But today, we're taking a look at, from McFarlane Toys, their Batman 66 Villains Lair set. McFarlane has been doing a bang-up job producing retro 60s Batman-style figures. They've done a lot of the characters already, and really, they've looked very nice. I've just avoided them because for my collection, I gotta kind of streamline, and not start going all over the place. But that might start changing, which is a common phrase I say when it comes to toys, but really, that might start changing with today. I've avoided a lot of those Batman 66 figures just because I don't want to keep growing my collection too unruly, because it's already pretty darn unwieldy if you've taken a look at this channel. But this here, I couldn't pass up on. And the reason I say that is not because I was so wowed by it or whatever, it's actually because I got it for $8. True story, folks. I picked this up at a Target, and basically because I had this nice little damage on the front, it rang up at $8. So normally this set here is about 30 bucks. I was just like, $8, I'm gonna do this. We'll take the risk. We'll see how it is. And the reason why I want to take a risk on these is not because I want to start buying more Batman 66 figures necessarily. Really, quite the opposite. I more so want to see how this scales up with my other action figure lines that I collect. I've been a little unsure about the scale of some of those McFarlane Batman toys because, I've bought their Avatar figures, for example, in the 5-inch and the 7-inch scale, and, since the Avatar figure is a little bit smaller since they're teens, I can't quite accurately size up how they look next to other figures. And likewise, 7-inch is 1/10 scale instead of 1/12 scale for a 6-inch toy, so again, the scaling starts to get a little weird. So I wanted to see how these sets look, because they've done a few sets now. They've done something in the Batcave, they've done now Wayne Manor, I believe 1 or 2 sets from that space. And really, I want to see if they size up to other 6-inch figures, because if that's the case, that might be a game changer for my figure photography. And I say that to a lot of you folks out there too who like taking photos of your figures doing various things. This might be a pretty affordable solution to getting a very cool space without breaking your bank. There's a lot of different ways folks are using backdrops for their toys these days, whether they're buying it from extreme sets, or they're printing out their own, or they're getting them from eBay from just like a single cardboard thing, or they're doing 3D printing. There's a lot of ways to do it, but oftentimes the price can either be really high, incredibly inaccessible, or you're basically just paying for a Xeroxed piece of paper that's essentially glued onto like cardboard. It's really not worth it. So at this price point here in the middle, this might be the best of both worlds, because you're also getting some 3D pieces to play with here too. So yeah, let's just first things first talk about the packaging here. And this is essentially the look of all the Batman 66 figures from McFarlane Toys. Really bright, bold, poppy colors. That's what you're looking for with this pop art style from that era of Batman. So right here, you're getting a great big window into everything that comes with this set here. And on the back of the box, again, not really getting much else information about anything, but you are getting some more illustrations of all the bad guys here, as well as a look at how this is going to look like when it's all assembled. And from what I can tell right just by looking at it, I don't really think there's going to be much assembly. I really feel like it's just going to be open it up, put them out, and you're done. So that's what we're about to find out right now. So without further ado and without any more rambling, let's go ahead, take this Villains Lair out of the package and see how it looks and compares next to a bunch of different action figures. Alright, so I've got everything out of the package now and all assembled right in front of you guys. And it's a pretty big set. I have to admit, I didn't realize it was actually going to be as wide as you're seeing it is right now. That's why this camera shot is so much wider than I would normally do it. But you can see here, this is a pretty massive playset. There's a lot of accessories here as well, and I'm definitely now very curious to see what the scale is. But let me just run down what you're getting in this Villains Lair. So number one, you're getting this very long backdrop. This is over 1 foot long. I'd say it's probably close to like maybe 14 to 16 inches all across here. It might be maybe a little bit bigger also. And it's not being held in place by any bases or any stands. It's basically held up by itself. And the way you do that, or at least the recommended way to do that, is to fold in these corners to help it support its weight. You also get 3 bookcases that you see. I have 2 on this side and there's a 3rd one over here. They're a little bit unbalanced, but you work with them, you can get them in the right position. And as far as like 3D things in them, you're getting decals on top of all those. Nothing 3D about them, all just stickers. And each one of those shelves is filled with in-jokes about some of the villains that this set is based all around, just like in the Batman movie. We also have a very long filing cabinet. We have a water cooler, which by the way is not the color that was pictured when you saw this on the box. In the packaging it shows it as being gray, but here this is very, very clearly a pink piece of plastic. We also have a villainous supercomputer, I believe this is. I'm pretty sure it's a supercomputer. If it's not, it's some kind of communication system. I don't remember what it is exactly, but it's a computery thing and we got it. And it's very retro looking, and it does come off of this table, so if you don't want to use the computer on it, you could still put other stuff on there too. We have a round table with a tablecloth on top of it here. This nice red tablecloth. That also comes with 4 chairs. And as far as some of the smaller accessories go, we have a cat statue over here, which is most likely something that Catwoman stole and added to this collection. We have this vase with Penguin's umbrella, one of his folded umbrellas. And we have this nice little pitcher over here on a plate, which does not come off. It's just there. Nice little golden pitcher. Cute little accessory. So overall initial thoughts here, I mean at $8, yeah, definite value, so thumbs up for me. But for anybody out there who's paying full price, which would be somewhere between the $25 to I would say probably $35 range at most, I would say you're getting a pretty good bargain here. This is a pretty good value, all things considered. Now for those of you who might not collect a lot of dioramas, a lot of playsets, you might be thinking it's a lot for the way this thing looks here. But truth be told, I mean, if you looked at something like 3D printing, for example, where you'd get much higher detailed pieces, you'd be paying for that much higher detailed work. Case in point, I recommend you check out any of the videos I've done on some of the Star Trek folks who print 3D toys. And I've done a few people now, including Triple Fiction Productions and Dazbot Toys. And they're both doing enormous playsets that look amazing, but you're going to be paying upwards of $100 to $200, and in some cases for some of the big sets that have lights and electronics, we're now talking $500. Granted, those are smaller runs, so it's a little bit different. As far as mass production goes, though, even then, if you were going to have more actual 3D pieces, like bookcases with more stuff coming in and out of them, you're going to be paying for all that. You're going to be paying for a lot more of the detail. In the case of what we're looking at today, this stuff here, it's very much kind of like dollhouse furniture, I would actually say. I would definitely compare this to dollhouse furniture, and that would mean it's not really for everyone. I know there's a lot of folks who are kind of anti that look, but at the end of the day, a toy is a toy, and this is going to solve a lot of your dilemmas for how to pose your toys and display them, instead of having to go a much more expensive route. All the furniture that you see here for the most part is hollow on the other side. I mean, and a good example of that would be these bookshelves, because if you turn this shelf around, there ain't nothing in there. This is totally hollow. And again, they're just relying on those decals to do the explanation for work for what's in them. I already showed you this water cooler before, this oddly pink water cooler. Once again, backside, nothing in there, so totally hollow. And this is how they're keeping that price point down, by making them hollow, by not putting backs on these things either, because really, if you're displaying them, you're not gonna have it displayed like this. You're not gonna have it in any way that's gonna expose the backside. So logically, if you're gonna be displaying it from this side here, all you need to worry about is the front, the side, the other side, and that's it. And right there's your evidence. You're not going to ever know the difference that there's nothing on the back here. The decals are very cleanly printed, by the way. You can see that here. The detail is wonderful on them. So many fun references, so many great jokes hiding amongst them. And there is one enormous decal. It's kind of hard to miss it. That would be the one that's right here in the back of this backdrop here. And that's the giant Villains Lair logo. It's very huge, to put it mildly. This is the one thing that I would probably warn you guys about this set if you were someone who wanted to get it, to use it for things other than Batman, because this decal is pretty enormous. And unfortunately, the way it's positioned here, I mean, yes, you could ultimately remove the decal, but you're going to be left with this giant sort of weird, I don't even know what shape to call this, because it's got this weird bottom part, but you're going to be left with this odd shape to fill. So if you were to do that, definitely suggest you have another design to put there, because otherwise it's just going to look really funny. Since the brick pattern and the wall patterns, they really don't repeat outside of what you see here. This space is just blank. So once that decal's gone, you got to fill it with something. Now my big question here was, what size figure does this playset work with? And as I mentioned, I don't have any of the Batman 66 figures, unfortunately, and I apologize for folks who wanted to see those toys with it. I just don't have them at the moment. But I do have other things in a few different scales, some that are similar to that size, that we're going to test out right now. And we're going to start a little bit small, because right here I do have a Batman figure. It's just not the right Batman for this. This is a Spin Masters Batman. This came with the Batmobile from the Batman, the Robert Pattinson movie. And this figure here, well, they advertised as being 4 inches. He's actually closer to 4.5. So we're just going to see how he looks right here. And initial glance, it definitely feels like this figure is way too big for this. That's already good for me, because yeah, this is getting closer really to like 3 3/4 inches, like a Kenner Star Wars, or these days a Hasbro Star Wars Vintage Series figure. But you know, as far as this looks, he's a little small. He definitely looks like he's a child sitting in Dad's big comfy chair. So 3 3/4 inches, 4 inches, they are out. So let's go up an inch and let's check out some 5-inch figures. Right here, I've got the Loyal Subjects TMNT figures. I got an April O'Neil and I got a Casey Jones. These guys, we're getting closer to the size that I think this might fit best. So I'm going to check out this April and see how she sits in one of these chairs and see how that looks. And I feel like 5 inches is a pretty good fit. Okay, 5 is looking good. This actually looks solid. I don't think she looks too small in that. I think it looks pretty decent. I'm going to try this Casey Jones also. All right, so actually, it's like borderline. I think it's okay for 5. It might not be perfect, but it's pretty close. It's pretty good for 5. So let's keep going up in scale Let's see what happens if we go a little bit bigger. And I think I want to check out the world of Dragon Ball Z for this. This is a Bandai Dragon Ball figure. It's actually Dragon Ball Super, one of the movie figures. I forget which one. I'm a big fan of these toys, though. I do love a good Dragon Ball figure. And Bandai does great work, too. So these guys are, I'd say, closer to 6 inches, maybe 5.5, but definitely bigger than what we just tested. So we're now going to get really into the nitty-gritty. Let's see if we can actually sit in this chair, number one. But, okay, besides the fact that his articulation might not be the ideal choice for this test, this size looks pretty good. This size actually does look like it works. This might be the right size. So that said, let's go up one more step. And for me, that next step would be WWE figures. These are some Mattel WWE figures with the elite articulation. I feel like this might be the cutoff point for what fits this, because I'm pretty sure like a McFarlane or a Diamond Select toy, which is 1/10 scale at 7 inches, I think that's going to absolutely dwarf all of this. So these WWE figures, they tend to rest in that 6-inch to 6.5-inch range. I think this will be the final litmus test of what does or does not fit here. And the biggest thing is, can we actually get him to sit in these chairs? Because these chairs are kind of really funny, really wonky. So let's see, I'm gonna get Goku out of the way. Again, I feel like his articulation is not the best choice for this, but 1, 2, 3 kid here, that's too big. Okay, that's absolutely too big. So I'm gonna go here and say that 5.5 to 6 inches is gonna be your sweet spot with any toys that you're using for these displays. I have seen some folks successfully use WWE figures in other sets, like for example, there's the Wayne Manor set that has like a nice table and chair. I've seen some folks do some photos like Commissioner Foley or things like that, and they kind of make it work. And in that case, I would probably suggest you don't use the chairs that come with them, because these are definitely feeling a little small. Luckily, wrestling toys always come with steel chairs, so I think if you're able to find yourself a replacement chair, you might have a winning solution to this particular display set. So let's go ahead and try getting our Sean in this chair. Again, I feel like he's just on the border, and these are the smaller size figures. You know, I'm pretty sure a larger guy is not going to fit. I'd say overall, you know, it kind of works, even if he is just a little too big to sit in that chair. And I'm definitely not going to try this Keith Lee figure because he's going to be way too big. And likewise, AEW figures, I think they're going to be just about the same because they are the same size. So while I think Keith will probably look okay in it, again, it does come down to those chairs. But otherwise, you know, he looks a little big. So yeah, you could probably pass with figures in that scale, but really you want to stick to that 5.5 to 6 inch, maybe even 5 is okay as well. Anything beyond that though, it's going to start to look not right. So obviously the McFarlane Batman figures will fit perfectly with this, and you know that because you're buying these toys and that's what it's made for. But again, I got this because I wanted to see if it fit with other scales, and now I know what it does and what it doesn't work with. And that's kind of great for me because this is my first sneak peek really at seeing these guys. This is my first look at them. So now I know that yes, I could probably buy some of those other sets now and they will fit in with other toy lines. And that's what I want. That's what I'm looking for. And for the folks out there who are collecting this Batman line, you're going to be very happy. Now, really, this is not my favorite of the sets they've released so far. I'd probably say, like, as far as ones I would opt to get, this is on the bottom of the list, really. I'd definitely rather have some of the other ones from, like, Wayne Manor. Those look much nicer. And the Batcave especially is one I regret missing out on. But as far as this set here, if you're buying these figures, for sure you're going to like it. And if you're buying other things outside, I think it's worth it just because the furniture alone is a nice touch to have for your figure photography, and it's a pretty good bargain. Again, even at the full price of like $30, it's giving you a lot of bang for your buck, a lot of options, and like I said, it's fairly customizable. You don't like these stickers? Take them off, repaint them, put new ones on. You don't like this weird computer on this table? You don't need it, take it off, put something else there. So that's our look at the Villains Lair from McFarlane Toys from their Batman 66 line. If you'd like to pick up this set for yourself, go ahead and check out my links in the description for this video below. I'm gonna have a few different places you can pick it up, and yeah, as I mentioned, I'm giving it a solid recommend. So until next time, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching me play with some toys as well. So we'll see you guys next time. Same bat time, same bat channel, same bat me knocking everything over right now. See you later. That was satisfying.